Hey there, welcome back friends. In this video we will talk about before all and after all. So let's get started. In here we have this before each and after each example. After each will give us like couple of statements on the console. This could be used for testing purposes now itself. So now let me add couple of more methods in here. It would be like void before all, and in here we will simply display a message as before all. Usually before all is used for initializing stuff. Likewise before each is used for initializing stuff again, whereas after each and after all is used to clean up things, right? So again, a piece of information in here. Let us create this after all method. Here we go, and let me copy this line. Oops, let me get rid of this. Let me copy this line and let me paste it in here, and we will update the message as after all, right? And now let me also add the annotations. So it would be like before all and after all. Here we go. Now as we already know, as we have already seen in our last video, that if now I run this JUnit test, there would be errors. Here we go. So there are errors in here. There is exception. Before all method void must be static unless the test class is annotated with test class annotated with test instance lifecycle.per-class, right? So why this is like this, why we can't run before all and after all directly, why there is some special requirement, or why there is this requirement to make these static. Understand this. Before all means we are executing this particular method before anything inside this class, before executing the constructor itself. As a result, we must execute this method even before the object creation of this class itself. Now we cannot make this class dependent on the object. As a result, we need to make this as static. Let me copy the static keyword. Then only we can make use of this methods. We can make use of these annotation, right? So take a note of it. Now friends, there would be like scenarios where we create multiple objects, right? That is the reason why static keyword is required. We must execute this methods after any object creation, right? And this is the way how we can do that. We can run this directly, and now we will get a green bar. Now there is a way where we can restrict multiple object creation. Now understand the object creation methodology, which exact object or how the object creation will done. Alright, so in here we have this class math functions test. So what happens in the background is, whenever we are like calling a method, a new object of this particular class math functions test will be created by JUnit, and always a fresh object of this class math functions test will be used for calling in these methods, every method. This is the default case. That is the reason why we have to make these two methods with the before all and after all annotation as a static method. Using the static method, before creating any object, these methods will get executed. Now this is the default mechanism. There is a way to override the default mechanism. There is a way how we can restrict multiple or per method. There is a way to override the default mechanism of test instance creation. Let me show you. So in here we have this annotation as test instance, and there is a value. Let me show you the value as lifetime, the value as per class or per method. So per method is the default value. So using this default value, object of this class test function test will be created per method. But we can override this value. So we can also mark this as a per class. This means that we will override the default setting and we are asking JUnit to create only one object and using the same object run all of the test. In this case, we can get rid of this static keyword. Then it will let me run the test cases. And here is the output. Now you may ask me that why we must create like different objects for every method call. Why creating object for every method call is the default way of JUnit. Now the reason being, when it comes to testing, for testing purposes, for every method call, JUnit recommends for fresh data. It recommends that there need not to be any inconsistency. It should have the fresh and the latest data. That is the reason why the default mechanism is per method. Alright, so this was all about before all and after all annotation, and that's it for today's video. In our next video, we will dig more into test cases, testing, and all of these stuff. Alright, so this is it. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day and take care.